But one of the biggest reasons for this unbelievable success has been our historic use of tariffs. Everybody makes money with me. I always made money for people. Now it's tariffs that are making money for Michigan. Every prediction the critics made about our tariff policy has failed to materialize. The evidence shows overwhelmingly that the tariffs are not paid by American consumers, that they're paid by foreign nations and middlemen. The Trump tariffs have delivered us trillions of dollars of new investment, unprecedented new partnerships on minerals, rare earths, defense, and artificial intelligence, and historic levels of foreign military sales.
President Trump there touting the success of his tariffs yesterday, claiming his administration's policies are making lots of money for the swing state of Michigan. Want to bring in Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell of the Mitten State. So you're actually not a person who's immediately anti-tariff, and that's why I think it's an interesting moment for you to come on, because what is the real impact of tariffs in Detroit, in Michigan, where Trump is making that speech and trying to paint them as, oh, it's 100% good for everybody here? What's the real vibe?
Tariffs are complicated.
Yeah.
I have always said tariffs are a tool in the toolbox. And when we're talking about China, which the companies are competing with, for the first time ever, China outsold us on EVs last year. Unacceptable to me, and we've got to get that back. So when China is subsidizing their products, manipulating their currency using slave labor, that's not a level playing field. But the reality is, for the domestic auto industry, there have been extreme tariffs. It's been total chaos.
Yeah.
We've been a North America free trade trading zone. Canada it's so up and down. The suppliers the supplier community has been deeply hurt. But larger than that is the chaos of the broader, you don't know what's going to happen any single day.
Yeah.
And I'm home every weekend. I'm in Kroger grocery store every Sunday morning. People come up to me, show me what's happening to the cost of the food that they used to buy. People are worried about housing. Childcare has gotten no better, and it's cold in Michigan. Utility bills are up by $100, $200. So people are hurting. Affordability is not a con job. People are hurting. The cost of living is hurting them. They're scared. They want help.
And I think that's the difficult piece. As you see the president trying to embark on this affordability tour, you see him trying to, dangle the idea of maybe doing something on capping credit card interest rates, of maybe doing something on housing. He's trying to turn to Democrats for stuff like that. I mean, the fact that he called Senator Elizabeth Warren the other day, I thought was surprising. Certainly she did as well. But what does it say that at the same time as he's trying to do that, he's also out here saying, well, affordability is actually a hoax?
So I think his actions speak louder than words, and I could do that in 1,000 things he does.
Yeah.
But it isn't a con job. So let's stop calling it that. Millions of Americans are hurting. Healthcare is a disaster right now.
Yeah.
With the Affordable Care Act tax credit having expanded. I mean,
Expired.
It expired, I meant. And prescription drugs, they're all way up. But he knows he's got a problem. I always said that. That's why I told you he'd win in 2016.
Yeah.
He knew that those workers were worried about trade. Negotiations that had shipped their jobs overseas.
Yeah.
He talks a game, but he needs to go to the grocery store on Sunday, weekends. He's in a bubble. He's protected. But he's not. He watches the news, so he sees the numbers on those economic reports. Half of him wants to say it's a con job. Well, we got a housing problem in this country. People are putting everything on credit. The interest on it's too high. It's a complicated time. But what I will tell you is people are hurting in this country.
Yeah.
They can't afford the basic things they want, and they're scared.
And I think one of the frequent refrains from our colleague Jonathan Lemire is the idea that the president is increasingly isolated and in his own bubble, which makes it difficult to have the kinds of reactions that you're having of going to the grocery store, experiencing what actual people outside of D.C. are experiencing when they do basic things during their day-to-day life. I think the other piece of this, as we're looking ahead in D.C., is not just what Washington is doing about it, but if Congress is going to be in session to actually do the work. I mean, there's a government funding deadline at the end of the month. There's still a lot of appropriations bills left outstanding. What do you think? Are we heading towards another shutdown?
I don't know. I'm just going to be that honest. I think that people aren't. We were very intentional that people needed health care. And we did get a bill finally passed through the House last week that extended those tax credits, and the Senate's got to be feeling pressure on that. You are seeing appropriation bills move through the House now. You'll see more yet this week and early next week. I think the ICE incident they have separated out now that bill, and I think the Republicans are going to have to deliver the votes themselves on those issues while we watch what we've been witnessing around the country. But Minneapolis, I mean, did you even watch what happened in Minneapolis last night? People are being hurt, doors are being rammed down, a woman has been killed, and there hasn't been an ounce of sadness or regret. They label her a domestic terrorist right after she says, "It's okay, I'm not mad." Well, he killed her. It's wrong. So I think people want guardrails. They're very disturbed by what's clearly a lack of training, the insensitivity, the not valuing of life. And what's going on in Minneapolis in Oregon had 2 shootings days after. People are scared by what they're witnessing in this country.
People are scared by what they're witnessing. You even got people like Joe Rogan, who backed the president, now referring to ICE as the Gestapo and questioning if this is really what people voted for. And I'll say, I'm sure you've heard this too from Trump supporters in your district, that they assumed when they voted for a tougher immigration policy that he would do what he said in going after people who had criminal backgrounds, who were breaking laws, not just people who were trying to make it in this country. And I think there is a potential reckoning coming on this issue. For Congress, I think you're right that Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill is going to be the next barrier, the next inflection point. So I'm watching it very closely. And I appreciate your candor that we don't know if there's going to be a shutdown or not. It's really important. Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell of Michigan, thank you always for coming on.